Ooh, what's up, nerds and geeks? My name is OMGWTF, LOL FTWBRB. Welcome back to more Total Extreme Wrestling 2016. We are playing as the WWF in the year 2001. More importantly, of course, we're booking the Invasion. Tonight we're going to be running WCW Thursday Night Nitro, and we got no locker room incidents. I've got nothing to talk about, except that I'm probably feeling the best I've felt in a while, so looks like we're over that sickness. But other than that, I guess the only thing we can really talk about is the fact that I'm actually excited about this show. I like the way I booked it, and I'm excited to see how it goes. So let's just jump right into it. We have a total of 3 pre-show matches tonight, and our first pre-show match actually is does pretty impressive, if I do say so myself. We get a 54 C- here, which to me that's impressive. I thought we were get like a D plus the most. But a C-, that's pretty good. Head Chop, my pet project team, Al Snow and Funaki, go on to defeat 2 of our developmental stars, Easy Money and Illick Skipper. Don't know why I paired them together, I just felt like, why not? I'm trying to use more of my developmental stars, less of the people I recognize, and some people that, why not? Let's see how they do. Either way, it had terrible wrestling apparently, and non-existent crowd heat. Of course, Head Chop goes over. Easy Money and Skipper when Funaki defeated Skipper with the Fisherman Buster. Snow was, of course, head and shoulders above everybody else. Here's something to take note of, though. Funaki's getting better and better, it seems like. He's now at a 50, and I think that's the highest we've ever seen Funaki rated at. Al Snow at the 66, and Skipper better than Easy Money. Skipper with the 36, Easy Money with the 27. I feel like Illick Skipper was like an early TNA X Division star. I don't want to say he was, but I have a feeling that's where I recognize him from. I have no idea who Easy Money is, though. We then move on to be honest, this is also pretty impressive. A 56 C-. I've got no idea how it did this good, especially considering that his opponent, we'll get to there when we get there, but wow. Lord Steven Regal taking on a local talent, not a developmental superstar, just a local talent here in Oklahoma, JJ Perez. And we have a bout that had terrible wrestling, non-existent crowd heat. Lord Steven Regal defeating JJ Perez with the Regal stretch submission hold. Got a 56 C-. Regal looked excellent out there. He had a 76 and Perez with a 16. So, Regal, you literally brought this kid to probably the best match he'll ever have. That was impressive. But the reason this match even exists is because Regal has kind of been booked horribly, I should say, and I'm afraid that I'm going to actually have him leave if I continue to book him this way, so I want to get him some more momentum, and we're probably going to be seeing him on the pre-show a little more, so get used to seeing him like this. But wow, that was really good. Regal's improving in performance, as is JJ Perez. Good for you, JJ Perez. Kind of looked like a young Dean Malenko. A little bit. Then we move on to our main event of the pre-show, a 74 B-, decent pre-show match. Team ECW, the Dudley Boyz, and Chavo Guerrero Jr. going on to defeat the WCW Cruiserweight Champion and the WCW Tag Team Champions, Billy Kidman and the Steiner brothers, when Bubba defeated Rick Steiner with a powerbomb. Wow. Bubba straight up beat him himself. Scott Steiner, of course, was head and shoulders above everyone else, and Chavo was the weak link, apparently. I didn't really have time or any idea what I wanted to do with the Steiners and Dudleys, and I figured it might be cool to kind of have the Dudleys sell like the Steiners took them out for a week. Maybe I should have had the Steiners cut a promo, but I didn't, like I said, I filled up the show and I was like, we don't really need anything extra. Plus, the same thing what goes with Billy Kidman and Chavo. I didn't really have anything for them, and it's such a little feud that it doesn't really matter if it gets shown every single week. So I figured, why not just do a 6-man tag match? Have fun with it. Steiner looked excellent. Kidman with the 69, Rick Steiner with the 76, and Scott with the 91. I had Rick Steiner take the loss on purpose, though, by the way. I didn't want Billy Kidman to lose another match because he's a champion, and Scott, he wouldn't have taken the loss, so there you have it. Chavo with the 58, so he wasn't too bad. Devon with the 73, and Bubba with the 77. So Bubba was the second best of the match. Rick was just like 1 point behind him. So let's take a drink before we start off the show. Ooh, yummy. A nice drink of that flat Sunkist. As we open up the show with an 88 B+. I'm not going to lie, I would kind of expected a little higher, especially since Vince McMahon was here, but that's okay. Thursday Night Nitro opens up with the WCW owner Shane McMahon, along with the WCW World Heavyweight Champion Booker T, standing in the middle of the ring, as they normally do. And Shane says, you know, this isn't easy to say, but last week, once again, Paul Heyman and his group of extremely crappy wrestlers got one over on WCW again. And because of that, No Mercy is going to be extreme. You know what? No, I'm not going to do it. I don't care if Heyman and his goons won last week. I don't care if they win this week. I won't put my wrestlers' careers and lives on the line just to prove a point to Heyman and my dad. And I know that's a call they'd make because, you know, that's them, but that's not me. Unlike my father, unlike Paul Heyman, I actually care for my talent's safety. That's when ECW's theme song hits, and out comes Heyman and the number one contender to the WCW World Championship, Rob Van Dam. Heyman takes the mic and he says, "You care? Did you hear that, Rob? Shane cares. He cares about the safety of his wrestlers. How honorable of you. But I don't buy it for a second. I know the fans don't buy it. And you know you don't even buy it. Or buy this crap. You care? Oh, please. The McMahons don't care. And trust me, your father would take that as a compliment. But you know, speaking of your father, I had a feeling that you were going to try to pull something like this, Shane. That's why I brought your father with me tonight." And then we hear Mr. McMahon's music hit, and we haven't seen Mr. McMahon in a while, so we had probably a huge pop from the crowd, and out comes Vince McMahon. Yep, sure. Vince McMahon comes out, and to my knowledge, this is the first time Vince has appeared on Nitro, so if I messed up and he hasn't appeared on Nitro, then let's just pretend this is, but I might have messed up. But to my knowledge, this is the first time, so Vince takes the mic and he says, "So this is Nitro, Shane. I love what you done to the place. You managed to keep the actual image of the Nitro of past. The image of a steaming pile of crap. But you know, Paul, looks like you were right. I didn't think the seed for my grapefruits would be such a wuss. It looks like Shane finds new ways to disappoint me more and more every single day. But you were right, Paul. We McMahons don't care. And I know Shane doesn't care about the safety of his wrestlers. I mean, we've seen you jump from heights that most people wouldn't even dare climb to. You care? No, Shano, you don't care. You're just scared. And while you may not have the grapefruits to make the change at No Mercy, I do. So since you won't follow through on your promise, I'm gonna make you, Shane." Shane then takes the mic and he says, "You're gonna make me, Dad? How's that? You gonna ground me to my room until I change my mind? Please, Dad. We know there's only one way you can make the change, and that's if you make the entire pay-per-view, including all your matches, at Extreme Rules." Vincent says, "Oh, I know. That's why at No Mercy, there will be no mercy. Because every match on the card will be settled under Extreme Rules. And in case none of you know what an Extreme Rules match, well, what the rules are to an Extreme Rules match is, well, that is, that there are no rules." And that confirms it. Shane McMahon tried to duck out of it, but Heyman knew it was coming, planned it, had Vince McMahon come to the show, and Vince, he did something Shane didn't expect he would do. Vince is risking even his talent, and every match will have no rules to it. Pretty much the only way the match can end is pinfall or submission or knockout, I guess. Falls count anywhere, everything. Well, I guess maybe not falls count anywhere, but you know what I'm saying. Heyman was superb, of course. Vince enjoyed. Shane he just seemed like he was neutral, so just whatever. But they were off script. Heenan was weak, which is unfortunate. Got the crowd hotter, though. Booker was good. RVD still performing poorly, but gained heat to two storylines at the end of the day. No worker improvements. As we move on to our next segment, probably back from a commercial break, we go on to a 82B, solid B rating here. We're backstage in the office of Shane McMahon. He's flipping out. He's throwing stuff everywhere. And Shane says, "Shane, damn it, man, calm down." That was a Stone Cold. Let's take a drink. Maybe that'll help our booker come out. Shane then he doesn't step up, he says. He replies to the booker, and he goes, calm down? You want me to calm down, Book? How can I calm down, Book, when everything is in danger at No Mercy? While Heyman and his goons may be extremely crappy wrestlers, you put a weapon in their hand, and trust me, they know how to use it. And the Book says, and you don't think I do? Trust me. I almost said, trust me, Book. Well, that's what I wrote in, but trust me, Shane. They want to get extreme? Then let's get extreme. What are you saying? I'm saying you put RVD up against the most hardcore guy in WCW, Ron Simmons. And I'll show RVD exactly what extreme feels like tonight. Not our best Booker T impersonation ever, but I guess we're going to see RVD take on Ron Simmons, the former hardcore champion, later tonight. And Booker T sending an eerie message saying he's going to let RVD know what's up pretty much. Shane and Booker, of course, improvising well throughout the segment. Booker was a real star, and it helped advance the storyline as well as we move into our opening match of the night. That gets a solid C rating here with a 63, and an extremely short match. Hugh Morris drawing with Disco Inferno in 4 minutes 48 seconds when Chris Jericho jumps over the barricade from the crowd and gets involved and just goes after Morris, goes after Inferno, takes them all out. And I guess technically this could be the official heel turn, but we'll get to it. Although I am curious, I want to see, it is probably getting to that point. So luckily, it's going to be happening soon, but it is getting to that point, so we might actually reach it. So Jericho got involved in this match, pretty much just got thrown out because Jericho took out both Hugh Morris and Disco. Disco, of course, being a developmental star, but he's getting match ratings like this and performances like that. He might get a call-up sooner rather than later. So far, Jamie Noble's been our only actual call-up. Hugh Morris with a 70 rating, Disco with a 52. As we move on, we get, oh my lord, Jericho and DDP just kill it every single time, as we get a 100 A-star rating here. After clearing the ring of Hugh Morris and Disco Inferno, Jericho takes the mic and he says, Paige! 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 Get your ass out here! I'm not going to let you get away with embarrassing me like you did on Raw this week. So you get out here, because I got a hip bone to pick with you, senior. That's when Diamond Dallas Page's music hits, and out comes the People's Champion, and he's smiling, and he says, Jericho, did I embarrass you? Aw, you poor baby, I'm sorry. And then Jericho says, cut the crap, Page. That's not why I came to Thursday Night NyQuil today. I came to get my revenge, and it can't wait until No Mercy. Paige then goes, whoa, Chris, as much as I'd like to kick your ass tonight, there are things we've got to consider. This match is already announced for No Mercy. We just can't fight here. It would defeat the whole reasoning of fighting at No Mercy. And I don't know about you, but the payday at No Mercy is better than the payday tonight, so hear me out for a minute. Even though we can't fight each other tonight, why don't we, find someone to fight each other? That's when Jericho continues, and he says, oh, actually, I should say Paige says, why don't we pick each other's poisons tonight? You'll find someone to face me, and I'll find someone to face you. Jericho replies, you know what, Paige? I may hate your guts. You actually make a lot of sense. No Mercy's a bigger payday, and there's no reason to blow it on all these people. So I accept your stupid challenge. And then Paige says, good. That's great, actually. I've already actually picked your opponent. And Jericho goes, what? How? And then Paige says, well, I had a feeling you were going to try and pull something, especially when I saw you pull up in the parking lot. So I planned ahead, and so without, further ado, your opponent tonight, the Giant. And out comes the man formerly known as the Big Show. He makes his way down to the ring while Chris Jericho just looks pissed off in the ring and intimidated at the exact same time. DDP invented a new catchphrase. I've got no idea what that would be, but he did. Mike today was weak too, unfortunately, but Jericho looking good. Giant developing better performance skills, and there you have it. We are getting really close to this. As we move on to the next segment, and we get a 82 solid B rating here in an exceptional match. Chris Jericho defeated the Giant not by submission. Why would the game even think about making it by submission? By pinfall after blatantly cheating, maybe rolling him up, doing something. Who knows what Chris Jericho did? The premise here is something actually I couldn't do. I had planned on, having Kane's pyro go off, and that'll be the distraction. I didn't realize that when you have someone that's not there, you can't even use them for a distraction somehow, even if you have them booked in, which makes sense because, the game doesn't think of, they're just being distracted by their entrance music or whatever. They think they're legit being distracted. So I can understand where they're coming from there, but they got to also take into account external distractions. So they should probably put, an external distraction thing in there as well to help you book those things along. Either way, the whole point is Kane's fire goes off or something. Giant gets distracted. Jericho cheats somehow. I don't know if he just rolls him up. I'd imagine that being a little hard, but Jericho does something, and he gets the victory over the Giant. Jericho with a 92, and the Giant with a 93. Looking at him. So we move on to the next segment. Oh my God. I don't want to go back, and I'm not going to go back. I fucked this up, and it's going to stay in. So, this is supposed to be the Giant. This is not the Giant. This is the Good Father. So if it was the Giant, he would say, Kane, that's 2 weeks in a row you've cost me my match, and I can tell that by your stupid messages that you want your revenge. Well, guess what, you masked freak? So do I. So if you're man enough to show, I'll see you at No Mercy. And flames go off in the ring, symbolically kind of giving us Kane's answer, showing that he was going to face Giant at No Mercy, which I guess we'll go ahead and book in. But, oh man. The Good Father. This reminds me of 370 Gaming's TNA, Total Extreme Wrestling. If you guys don't watch 370 Gaming, check them out. Good stuff over there. A lot of fun, a lot of funny Total Extreme fighters. Probably the funniest two LP are out there right now. But either way, in his TNA thing, he accidentally had Mark Andrews instead of Maria Kanellis come out and introduce Mike Bennett. And he went on with an angle with it, pretty much, making, Mark Andrews call himself Mark Kella. I don't remember it, but you got to check it out. It was hilarious. I don't think I'm going to do anything that extreme with the Good Father now calling himself, like, the Good Giant or something like that. But yeah, that's kind of what it reminds me of pretty much, since they're pretty similar. Either way, what worries me here is Bobby Heenan was weak. Come on, dude. It was only a 70. How are you that weak? Good thing is, though, no storyline progress, which I'm happy with that. We go on to an impressive, solid 93A rating here, nerds and geeks. Wow. Canyon is just getting better and better. Cameras caught up with Chris Jericho backstage. After he quickly left the ring after his match with Giant, he got out of there, but he runs into Canyon and Hugh Morris. And if you guys remember, Hugh Morris was in the opening match tonight that Jericho cut short. And Jericho says, "Oh, hey, look, guys, about earlier. It was nothing personal, Hugh. Your match was just in the wrong place at the wrong time." And Canyon, about Monday, and Canyon says, "Shut up, Chris. I don't care about Monday. Monday's in the past. And despite what you may have said on Monday, and how much it pissed me off, I'm not stupid. And I see the opportunity in front of me. Because not only have you pissed me off, but so has Diamond Dallas Page. And since Page chose the Giant to face you tonight, I've already missed out on my chance for vengeance on you. But I haven't missed out on Page." And then Jericho goes, "Oh, I see where you're coming from. You want me to pick you to face Page tonight." "Exactly." Then Jericho responds, "Well, get in the back of the line, Junior. Page has already beaten you. Why would I choose you? Why would I choose a loser?" That's when Canyon pushes Jericho up against the wall. Of course, Hugh's a little worried. He's like, "Canyon," and then Kanyon looks over and he says, "Shut up, Hugh. Look here, Jericho. You will give me that match with Paige, or you won't make it to your match with Paige." And then Jericho says, okay, fine. You want Paige, you've got him. And then Kanyon lets go of Jericho and he says, "Wise choice." And then him and Morris walk off as presumably, well, not presumably, but now we know that it will be Kanyon taking on Diamond Dallas Page later tonight, as Kanyon is looking for revenge. He wanted Jericho or Page. He couldn't get Jericho, but he's getting Page. Jericho looked good. That's starting to worry me. I forgot how many times it was for, like, Kurt Angle or whoever it was, Benoit, but still. Either way, we then go to a solid 82B rating here. We're backstage with Paul Heyman and Rob Van Dam, and Heyman's all psyching him up, and he says, "All right, Rob, coming up next, you got who WCW refer to as their most hardcore guy, Ron Simmons. And now, while Mr. Simmons may not be as hardcore as WCW thinks, that doesn't mean he isn't a threat." And then RVD stops him right there, and he says, "Paul, would you chill for a bit, man? Trust me. You don't need to tell me how good Ron Simmons is. The dude's a legend in our industry, a history maker. But I'm looking to make history, too, by being the first ECW star to hold the WCW championship. And if Ron Simmons is their most hardcore guy, then it's time I show WCW and Ron Simmons just hardcore Rob Van Dam can be." Or maybe, that he does the whole Rob Van Dam can be. And then they walk off to the match. But before we can get to that match, we go to a solid C rating here with a 65 rating. And we're backstage in a dimly lit room. There's just a light bulb swinging back and forth. Every once in a while it shines bright and like gleams from the Canadian Championship that Raven stole from Lance Storm. And he says, "Lance, I heard what you had to say last week. And while I'm pleased that you have finally come to your senses and did what was right by giving me my chance to take this pretty piece of gold the right way, but then you went ahead and gave Tommy Dreamer a shot at my title. Yes, my title. Because as far as I'm concerned, you forfeited your right to be champion when you refused to give me my title shot. But I'll tell you what, I'm a nice guy, and Tommy has earned his shot, so I'll allow his presence in our match, and bail you out of this mess that you gotten us both into. But mark my words, Tommy. Mark my words, Lance. Come no mercy, I will put you both out of your misery, and I'll give Canada a champion it can be proud of." He then stands up and he does the whole Raven pose, and he says, quote the Raven, "Nevermore." So Raven was good in that segment. Not too bad. Solid C. Would have hoped for a little more, but, of course, Dreamer and Lance Storm are both rated on overness here as well. So it did help the storyline advance. All in all, not too bad for like a, mid-card feud. We then go to our semi-main event of the night that gets a solid B rating with a 78. We have a decent match here where Ron Simmons goes on to defeat Rob Van Dam with the Dominator following interference from Booker T. So this was, technically Extreme Rules hardcore match. Call it what you like. RVD taking on former hardcore champion, not champions, Ron Simmons. Booker T on commentary for this match as well. We can look at it right here. There you see him. So he was on commentary the whole time. Maybe things are starting to look good for RVD. Maybe going for a 5-star frog splash. Booker takes a chair to the back of RVD, makes him crash. RVD hits a Dominator. Ron Simmons hits a Dominator. 1, 2, 3, and I believe RVD has suffered his first loss in the WWE, or WWF. RVD with a 64, Simmons with an 80, and it advanced the RVD Booker segment as we move on to a 79 solid B rating. Just a freestyle thing, because I can explain it myself. Booker T and Ron Simmons continue to beat down on RVD, of course, with weapons. It was an Extreme Rules match, so you got chairs. They're using everything on him, beating him down. The hardcore champion, Sabu, comes to make the save, but RVD's already kind of taken out, so he can't really help. And it's pretty much a 2-on-1 situation when Sabu arrives, and Booker T and Ron Simmons quickly take down Sabu as well. And both Booker T and both Booker T and Ron Simmons, I don't know why I'm having a hard time combining those two together, but Booker and Simmons beat down on their rivals, RVD and Sabu, pretty much taking them out, and then I'd imagine maybe even Ron Simmons doing the Dominator to Sabu through a freaking table or something, and Booker T maybe hitting a scissors kick on the RVD, and he goes face first into a steel chair that was already set up. Something like that, to impress the crowd and make them look good in a hardcore situation. Booker looked excellent. Simmons looked good. Sabu, unfortunately, did not look good, but probably, botched a move or something, like went for his move off the ropes like he did every time in ECW and then slipped. Or should I say ECWWE. We then move on to a 93A as DDP kills it. Either way, though, not either way, but something I forgot to do, as I'm noticing now, is actually put Mean Gene in this segment. I forgot to do that totally. But let's just imagine he was here as he says, "Alright fans, joining me now is WCW's People's Champion, Diamond Dallas Page." And DDP enters the frame and then he says, "DDP, earlier tonight we saw Chris Jericho invade Nitro and challenge you, which led to your counter-challenge doing a pick your poison. You, of course, picked the Giant, which didn't quite go the way you had hoped with a certain big red machine making his presence known. Jericho, on the other hand, has picked someone you've got quite a familiarity with, your former tag team partner Chris Kanyon." Any comments on that? DDP then literally laughs out loud and he says, "Oh man, Mean Gene, I'm sorry. It's just so funny. Jericho had an opportunity of a lifetime. He could have picked anyone, but he picked a joke like Chris Kanyon? I've already beaten him once already, and trust me when I say, I'm gonna beat him again. Always nice talking to you, Mean Gene." And then DDP walks off, and Gene says, "Well, there you have it, fans. Kanyon versus DDP next." Page was good. Heenan was weak. Still, look at that. Page getting solid A ratings by himself. Pretty much. Well, Kanyon and Chris were rated on overness here as well. Mean Gene probably would have brought this down, to be honest. We then move on to our main event of the night, which gets a solid B rating with a 79, and about that had good wrestling and a decent reaction from the crowd. Kanyon, yes indeed, Nerds and Geeks, Kanyon goes on to defeat Diamond Dallas Page in 15 minutes, 12 seconds, with the flatliner, after we had interference from Chris Jericho, of course. So imagine what happening. Oh shit, sorry about that, guys. Whole time, we got the microphone not to make a noise. I move just a bit, and finally it goes. And it scared the living hell out of me, by the way, too. Whew. Heart's kind of racing now. So pretty much, I'd imagine the referee getting knocked down at one point, or maybe, Oh, no, I remember what I was going with now. Just remembered. I knew Hugh Morris had to do something with it. So I'd imagine Page getting a cheap shot on Hugh Morris, hitting him with a diamond cutter on the outside or something, and that leads to the ref going to check on Hugh. Oh, let me go check on Hugh. That's when Jericho comes in, turns Page around while he's pretty much laughing at Hugh, and hits the diamond cutter on Page, and gets out of the ring quick as he can, retreating to the back. And Kanyon, of course, was down at this moment. He was down for the count. That's why DDP went and took advantage of Hugh Morris. Or, took advantage and attacked Hugh Morris. So he hits DDP with his own move, the diamond cutter. Kanyon goes to cover him. Doesn't get the pinfall as DDP still kicks out, but he's pretty weak right now. And that leaves Kanyon to hit him with his own finisher, the flatliner, and get the biggest victory of his career to win and beat DDP in the main event of Nitro. So Page with an 85, Kanyon with a 75. Surprisingly here, Page wasn't running out of stamina, which I thought he would have. Maybe his stamina is getting better. It did lose heat, but I'm expecting them to gain more heat with this next segment. I was hoping for another A, but that's okay. As we get an 85 B+ to end off the show as Jericho comes back into the ring once Kanyon and them have all left. Attacks Page once again, and then locks him into the walls of Jericho as Page is just screaming, tapping. And you have, security and all that coming out to pull Jericho off to end off the show for the night. Jericho looked good. Page looked good. Everything was good. Do we want to make him a heel now? I'm legit getting worried. I forgot how many segments it is. But it's technically not. He's still in his just teasing phases. I haven't officially... I have a plan to turn him. Finally, at least. But still, I'm going to stick to it. I hope I'm not screwing myself over by waiting so long with Jericho. Either way, we get a solid 90 rating, or solid A rating with a 90 to end off, for Nitro as a whole, I should say, and increasing our popularity in 10 regions as well. So, Nitro did pretty good. Very good show, if I do say so myself. Did it do better than Raw? I don't remember what Raw's rating was this week. Got fantastic reviews. Look at Noah doing their things. James Mitchell, apparently the best manager in the world. Does he even work? Oh, yeah, he does work. Wonder who he manages now over those places. Okay, good stuff. What do we got here? Eddie Guerrero's now returned. Mike Awesome's returned. Kane has returned, so we got 3 returns. Drug testing, and Scott Steiner says Bubba Ray Dudley doesn't connect. I think you're the only person that thinks that, because I've had more top stars tell me he does. Either way, assigning positions, let's go ahead and auto-push and see where those people find themselves, actually. Actually, you know what, before we end off the show, let's just do a quick brief through. Let's see who our enhancement talents are. Funaki got pushed back down to enhancement talent. That's a shame. He was an opener just a few seconds ago. Noble and Jerry Lynn, all enhancement talents over here. Unfortunately for Jerry Lynn, we booked him to that point. Chavo, Gregory, Just Incredible, Scotty, Spike, and Tommy Dreamer are openers. Yes, we're officially letting the game push Tommy Dreamer. D1, Billy Gunn, Billy Kidman, Brian Adams, Dean Malenko, Hardcore Holly, K-Quick, Sabu, Steve Blackman, and Steven Richards are lower mid-carders. Mid-card talents are Al Snow, Big Boss Man, Brian Clark, Bubba Ray Dudley, Hugh Morris, Jeff Hardy, Lance Storm, Lord Steven Regal, Mark Jindrak, Matt Hardy, Mike Awesome. Wow, didn't think he'd be a mid-carder. Then again, he wasn't a lower mid-carder. What did I think he was going to be? Perry Saturn, Raven, Rikishi, Sean Stasiak, The Good Father, and Val Venus. Rikishi got the push down, eh, buddy? So that must mean Eddie's an upper mid-card. So upper mid-carders, yes, he is. Albert, Christian, Chuck Palumbo, Devon Dudley, Eddie Guerrero, Edge, Canyon, Kurt Angle, Rhino, Rick Steiner, Rob Van Dam, who really shouldn't be an upper mid-carder. He should be a mid-carder. Ron Simmons and Test. And then our main event talents are Booker T, Chris Benoit, Jericho, DDP, Kane, Flair, Steiner, Austin, Giant, Rock, Taker, and Triple H. So not a bad show. Not a bad roster. Not a bad anything. That's going to be the end of this episode, though, Nerds and Geeks. I hope you guys have enjoyed. If you have, do me a favor. Leave me a comment, like, and subscribe if you have not already. And as always, my name is OMG, WTF, LOL, FTW, BRB, and I will see you guys for Sunday Night Heat. But if I don't, and you just want to see Monday Night Raw, I'll see you for Raw as well. But until then, have a great day, guys.